What personality trait isn't harmful or toxic but is still annoying? I have a friend who texts one sentence at a time but has a paragraph of things to say. I get 12 notifications in a row and I know it's them. I might get some flack for this, but for me it's proud parents. You know, the ones that are so excited about their child they assume everyone else must also be too. You ask them how their weekend was and are stuck for 15 minutes looking at about 200 photos of a baby doing absolutely nothing remarkable. I can't stand it. I know it all. Back in college in our first semester programming classes there was this kid who obviously had lot of experience already. Whenever the teacher would start teaching something new, like say, what global variables were, he'd pipe in, actually in this scenario you'd want to initialize those in the method itself because they are only going to be used temporarily blah blah. The teacher finally told him to keep it to himself. He's teaching beginners and introducing us to concepts and best practices will come after. People that constantly talk about needing coffee so they can function. Like you visit their FB profile and it's 75 coffee memes. People that are obsessed with their pets. It's totally fine to be obsessed with your pets, but nobody else really cares that much. Bonus points if they shit on people for talking too much about their kids but talk people's ears off about their pets. The need to witness to me like a rabid Southern Baptist about the latest fad exercise regimen you are currently worshipping at the gym. People who are very indecisive, always having someone else make the decision for them, even really small ones. It's annoying as hell sometimes. People who are overly religious. Those people who shove their beliefs just because they thought their Bible said so when they actually haven't read the Bible not even once. I wouldn't say they are toxic, it's just their way of showing their beliefs, but needless to say they are highly annoying FS. Story one-uppers. You know, you're catching up and it goes along the lines of and #X200B. Yeah, I'm really proud, I ran my first 10 kilometers race over the weekend. I didn't get the best time but I worked super hard to get to this point. Plus it was for charity and I raised $500. And #X200B. Yeah, I totally get it, I ran 2 marathons last week and raised $10K. No biggie though. Good vibes only type people who insist everything is constantly light and cheerful, and say things like look on the bright side / there's always a silver lining. I've heard it called toxic positivity. Sometimes you just have to read the room and let people sulk and acknowledge something sucks. People who act like they are experts on whatever your specific hobby is without ever doing it. People who think everything is personally offending them or about them even if it's not. This can be harmful to an extent though. People who are overly sensitive when you try to address someone else's behavior that is causing problems and say that you are just being toxic. People who keep talking over you when you're talking. Bonus points if they just keep yapping to the point that you can't finish what you were saying in the first place. People that make smoking weed a personality trait. I have absolutely no problem with people that smoke, but if the only thing interesting about you is that you smoke a lot, then you're boring AF. When conspiracy theorists regurgitate the same lines they've heard over and over again from their wacko propaganda films. X. Something big is coming down the pipeline. The sheep are either waking up or heading to the slaughterhouse. One day you will wake up only to realize you've been lied to your entire life. The deep state is so desperate they will do anything to try to stop the truth from coming out. If someone is super nice to the point that they are being abused. Like WTF, you can't always say yes to everyone around you. Telling strangers your entire life story. I really don't care, can I just go back to listening to music PLZ? Really loud or shrill people. That tone of voice that just cuts through you. I have a colleague like this and honestly the pitch she reaches inside our small office actively hurts. Singing along to songs. This annoys me to no end. Let me enjoy a song without some numbnut ruining it. People who make giving gifts impossible. Just accept the damn pie, Sharon. Also, people who always say they hate confrontation as a reason they won't stand up for themselves. Most people don't like confrontation. But sometimes you gotta do it. Help me, I'm confused. Then something bitchy follows, about which they are in no way confused. I like to call it speaking TikTok. The younger demographic do this thing where half their sentences have to include like yes mood on point, it's a moment on God. Or exaggerate the way they speak to seem like meme-like. It's so annoying and just seems to not be genuine. My younger cousin talks to me like this when I'm asking her about her life, and it just makes everything seem like a joke or meme-worthy when I'm trying to connect with her. An asshole you ask for advice opinion to blatantly ignore and do the opposite just to later return and explain how the events that were most likely to occur have occurred and you are now in even more dire straits, just to repeat said process again. Extremely competitive people. They always have to be better at everything, and even if they aren't showing off, it's quite exhausting to be around. Somebody who is extremely sweet or nice. It comes off as being creepy cause in this era nobody is ever nice. PPL who only ever talk about one thing. Especially if it's their pets, job, or D&D campaign. If I am not a part of it, I do not care. My girlfriend always interrupts me telling a story to tell her own story instead. I care for her so much though I just let it happen. Firstly, people who use the word toxic all the time because they don't have the smarts to explain things they do not like in any other way. Secondly, people who hear someone say that something is toxic and they run with it without any sort of challenge, research, evidence or independent thought. Honesty is often mentioned as a desirable trait, but my personal experience with being so, almost to a fault, really, is that people don't actually want unfiltered truth. I don't like this trend of softening the truth for a number of reasons, most notably because it results in thin-skinned people increasingly incapable of dealing with reality. Sometimes, people need a good splash of ice-cold water to the face, so to speak. Woo folks. Woo all you want, express your happiness, I am glad you're having a good time, but I'ma move away for a bit, k. See ya. Overconfidence. I really hate that I know it all attitude some people have, like even if you prove them wrong they just won't accept it. Saying just kidding after sharing their honest opinion. It's like saying this is where I stand on the topic but I take no responsibility for my words. Your boyfriend crying whenever you are angry at them for genuine reasons and knowing you are an empath you always have to give JN cause you don't like making people cry. Like how do I break up? People who have to constantly point out how random, or weird, or so quirky, they are. They're usually 0 degrees of any of those. Constant sarcasm. It's fine occasionally, but when 95% of what you say is sarcastic then just don't bother. I used to work with this woman who was a lovely person but would try to finish your sentence every time you spoke to her. Like if you say to her the sky is blue today she'd chime in with, you eat today as you were finishing your sentence. This was with everything. Even if she tried to auto-predict what you were going to say and got it wrong she'll try to correct it and change what she said so she can say what you said. It's hard to describe but it was very annoying. Lovely woman though.